Glow in the Dark podcast.
What's up, everyone? This is Blanca, and you're listening to the Glow in the Dark podcast.
This is Good Little Giants.
You're listening to Glow in the Dark podcast.
What up? It's Bizzle, and you're listening to the Glow in the Dark podcast.
What's going on, man? It's your boy Tadashi, and you are listening to the Glow in the Dark podcast.
Welcome to the Glow in the Dark podcast, guys. My name is Ted. Happy New Year to everyone, and I must say we are starting 2016 off with a bang because we have a very special interview for you guys. We have with us a special group of girls. They have over 3.5 million subscribers and close to 1 billion views on YouTube, 500,000 followers on Twitter, over 600,000 followers on Instagram. A pretty impressive resume if you ask me. I'd like to welcome to the show, well, why don't you guys introduce you?
Hey, I'm Christina.
I'm Catherine.
I'm Lisa.
I'm Amy.
I'm Lauren.
I'm Danny.
And we're Cimorelli.
That's right, we have with us Cimorelli today. I've been waiting on this interview. I feel like a kid on Christmas Day. This is like the perfect thing to start the new year off. So a big reason that I wanted to interview you guys is because you portray a very similar message to the Glow in the Dark podcast. Our message here is glowing in the dark, you know, being that light for someone to look to in a pretty negative world, you know, shining when things are not very bright. So how did the Cimorelli Sisters glow in the dark?
That is a very interesting question. We didn't even intend to be like that from the beginning. We just were kind of being ourselves, and we didn't think like, oh, we're going to be this big positive force in people's lives. We literally were just being ourselves and living out our values, and then people started telling us like, I love watching your videos or listening to your music because it's like the most positive part of my day, and like my family's going through like dark things or my life is a very dark place, but when I watch the videos I get to like escape into like this positivity. And I think we were all kind of surprised by that because we didn't see ourselves as like this really positive thing. We were just trying our best to be the best we could be. So now that we heard that more, I think we made more of an effort to try to like build on that and try really to get to like think about what our messages are and then get those out there and really think about how this is affecting people, because it really does affect people. So we started writing more songs with more positive messages and then really thinking about our videos like, how could this affect people?
I know that I like the fact you guys are all Christians. You're not afraid for people to know. I've seen in previous videos that you guys have said you've prayed before songs. You talk about your faith on Twitter. You even have some videos on YouTube, little clips on Twitter, and Vine of you guys singing, you know, different Christian songs. Is that something you guys want to do more of in the future?
Yeah, that's a great question because actually I made it a goal this year for us to write a Christian song and come out with an original Christian song.
Very awesome.
So I'm really excited about that because we've never done that before. I just like felt like really called to do that in the last few months, and I keep like feeling that more and more. So I'm like, we need to do that this year. And I think we are going to actually put our faith out there more. We never made an effort to put our faith out there. We just kind of just lived it out and did our best. But now I feel like we should put it out there a little bit more than we have. And that's kind of going to be part of this new year for us.
That's awesome. I saw on YouTube you guys have, it's an old one. It's He Reigns.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I love that. That was really awesome to watch. Sure. So a really important scripture verse of our show is Matthew 5:6, which reads, in the same way, let your light shine before others, that you may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So, do you guys have any favorite scripture verses?
What are your favorites?
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
It's okay. Well, I already know. Well, you can go first.
Okay, my favorite is Psalm.
What is it called?
It's either 138 or 139. I'm thinking it's 138. It's the one that says, Lord, you have probed me and you know me. You knit me in my mother's womb. I think that one is so beautiful. There's actually a song. It's funny because I've done church music my entire life. Like, I always cantor at church, like lead worship, whatever you want to call it, and singing in the choir. So most psalms, I'll be reading them, or even just Bible verses, a lot of them, and then I'll know a melody in my head because of singing it at church. So, like, the Bible has like a musical connotation to me. But that's my favorite.
That's awesome.
My favorite, I had it on my wall before we moved. I had to take it off, but it's Joshua 1:9, and it's be strong and courageous. Be not afraid, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. I love that one.
What is yours?
Joshua 1:9.
Oh, mine. I just looked it up to figure out exactly what the numbers and everything was. because I can remember it. It's different in all different translations, but it's Mark 5:36, which is fear not, only believe, in some others, and it's what I'm reading right now. But Jesus overheard what they said, and he said to the president of the synagogue, "Do not be afraid, only have faith." That's my very favorite one. I think about it all the time, like, fear not, only believe. Like, put my fears away.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's actually a very good one. It's kind of with, like, the show, I took it, even with, I'm sure with your career, you took it a step. You didn't know how things were going to work out. You just had to solely believe on the fact that things were going to work out, and that's a very good one. No, that's like the basis of our entire lives and career. It's like, so, like, we don't have like this whole path that's like lit up that we can see what's in front of us. It's literally like we can see a light like one step in front of us, and it's all dark, and we do have to like not. It is scary, but we have to like not be scared and walk forward and just believe that God will like lay it out for us when we have no idea what is there. Yes, that's very, very important. So on the same kind of topic, I'm guessing you guys grew up in church together, being all sisters. If you didn't know, they're all sisters. And did you guys sing in the choir? Are you still singing in the choir today? That was like what like started things for us. Actually, our mom is a classical pianist, and she actually like ran the church choir, and she started it just so she could have us in there, and she could work on like really cool like classical pieces, and then teach us all the harmonies. And that was like a huge basis actually for music for us and for writing and everything, because I even like draw from that. I think all of us do when like writing like melodies and things. Like there is a little bit of a classical influence in it for me because we did a lot of like classical pieces back then. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's like really where our roots and our foundation is, in church music.
Yeah.
So I've been a drummer my whole life. I was drumming from 5th grade till now. So this question's kind of for Lisa, the drummer, but if any of you drum, you can also chime in.
Yeah,
what do you prefer playing more, drum set or cajon?
Ooh, I think my heart is with the full kit, absolutely. But I do love playing cajon. The only downside is that your hands, like right in these knuckles, gets really like beat up after a while. Like one of my drummer friends who doesn't usually play cajon did an acoustic tour, and he said at the end he had to like tape his fingers. And I was like, oh, I should have done that. Like, it really hurts, but it is fun. It's nice how you kind of have, like, a mini kit, kind of, because you have, like, the snare and the kick, but definitely a full kit. Do you play cajon?
I do. Not often, only on occasion.
I play it time now, but...
Do you have any favorite drummers?
Favorite drummers? John Keefe and Ryan Seaman.
Okay.
John Keefe! I love them so much!
Do any other you play drums?
Yes.
Yeah, we all took lessons, but we kind of like let it fade away. I started like practicing more, I think, than the others over the last couple years, which is not that much. And then I just recently played it in our music video we shot last month that didn't come out yet, so that's cool.
Sneak peek.
I actually put it on my resolutions for this year to get back into drums because I really did like it and I want to get back more into it.
I've always wanted to be a good drummer, but I just don't know if I can.
It's really hard.
I don't know if I can.
It's really hard for me to get the whole coordination part of it.
Oh, it's tricky.
I feel like if I practice for a long time, I could totally get it.
See, that's how I feel about guitar. I have the same problem with guitar. I can't seem to pick it up.
Yeah, me too.
It can be difficult.
That's hard.
So, something that I also like is the fact that you guys are role models to kids, young adults, and even some adults. You show that living a positive life can be fun, and you don't need to get into the bad part of life to be happy. I've seen you change words in your covers, keep things clean and positive, and always are spreading a message of self-worth. And I feel that that's very important nowadays. You're teaching, young individuals that they don't have to be a certain way to get someone's attention or affection. So can you go into the topic for people listening that might be dealing with self-worth, and maybe even sliding into a dark part of life?
That's really good.
Oh, this is so relevant to me because I just visited with a lot of people in my life from my hometown, and I felt there was a lot of darkness when I was there, and I felt like a lot of my friends were telling me, like, I'm in such a bad place in my life right now, and I feel really passionate about this, two different probably components to this. The one is that as you get older, I feel like the world tells you have to do certain things to like be seen as like mature or old or an adult or something, and they tell you that all these things will be are the way you have fun now, and this is how you're older. You need to like dress older, you need to look older, you need to drink to have fun, you need to do all these different things, and that's the only way, and you need to be watching these things that are for your age, adult things, whatever. And I totally reject that because all that stuff does not make me happy at all. Like doing all the things in general that like adults are supposed to be supposed to be doing, that's supposed to be like part of the adult life, that is not fulfilling for me at all. And when I've slipped into that and just like followed that and been like, oh, whatever, this is what everyone else my age does, it is just not fun for me and just doesn't make me happy at all. And I feel like that's something that you can slip into and just following everyone your age. And I think that's such a bad idea if you follow the people your age, because they don't know what they're doing just as much as you don't. And you assume if you're like them, you'll just be like fitting in and then you'll be happy. But for my experience, it's not how it works at all. And then I think the other part of it is the temptation of tying your self-worth to other things because you can control them. For instance, your income, your appearance, your friends, your relationships, social status, your grades. Oh, that's a huge one. Grades is a huge one. So you think like, if I get all A's, then I'm a worthy human being. And then when you start like slipping on it, then suddenly you feel like you're not valuable anymore because you put everything on it because it's something you can control. And with your looks, like if I could be like this weight, or if I could look this like this, or if I could do my makeup really well, I would finally be a valuable person. And then you can try every day. You can watch every video on doing your makeup. You can put all your time and effort into it. And then if you have a bad day and you don't look the way you want to look, you feel worthless because you put all of your worth in that. And I think all of us are guilty of doing that in many different ways, especially being on social media. It's more of a temptation because you have just all these people talking to you all the time and kind of like enforcing that in some ways by accident. Mm-hmm. And it's really hard to not fall into that. But I have to like constantly remind myself, like the things that I tell our fans and things that we sing in our songs, like I have to remind myself, like, you are not your makeup, not your clothes, you are not all these things. I literally will, like, the speeches that I like give on stage, I give to myself. Like when we were in our concert, we have these little like audio like musical transitions with like interludes. Yes. And there's one, and in the beginning it's the You're Worth It one, and what is it? It's like, if I change, it's like, will I ever be like good enough? And it talks about all those things like, if I lost the weight, would I be beautiful? If I did this, if I was more successful, if I was blah, blah, blah. And every time that would come on stage, I would sit there and I would mouth the words in the dark, and I'd be like, and I would like start crying during, because I was like, this is so true and relatable. Even though I'm up here on stage like telling it to them, I'm really telling it to myself too.
Yeah, I think that's something that's important to remember is, even though, I actually wrote a poem about this the other day. It's like to be aware of the darkness, but to choose the light. And I feel like that's sort of our story is we've all experienced darkness in our own ways. And the message we put out there is something that is relevant not only to our fans, but really to us too. And we need it just as much as they do. We need a constant reminder that we are worthy, regardless of how our career is going or how we look or our status or anything like that. Like, we need that message too. So it's like we try to live it out, but it's also something we need to hear ourselves.
Yeah, and it's really tricky because sometimes you put your self-worth in things that are negative, and it's like it's so hard to tell that you're doing it. Like, if you have, well, this is for my experience, like if you are always like, oh, no guy will ever like me or whatever, you're putting your self-worth in that, and you're perpetuating that belief, and it doesn't seem like you're actually putting your worth in that, but you're literally doing that and proving to yourself over and over again that you're not worthy because that keeps happening. Mm-hmm. So, like, that was something that I learned about myself, that I was like, because I didn't really relate to putting my self-worth in makeup and all this other stuff because I just never really got that into it. But then other things, I found that I put into it in a negative way. So it was a tricky thing where I didn't really realize it.
So it's like, if he likes me, suddenly I'm worthy. If he doesn't, suddenly I'm worthless.
Yeah.
That's horrible, but it's so common.
It's so easy to do.
I've done it many times.
A brief story with you. There was a few occasions where shows and people have come to me asking for me to be on their show or to have a segment on their show, and pretty much wanting me to change everything that I am, changing how I see things. And I'm not going to change something, my philosophies, my ideas for a certain person. I'm doing this show for my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I'm doing this show to spread a light, to bring people to the cross. I'm not trying to change who I am. So I saw an interview where you, Christina, had said that the song Renegade was your letter to the music industry, pretty much saying the same thing. You're not changing the way you guys do things. You're not changing who you guys are because someone wants you to. So can you kind of go in on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think this is a really relatable thing for everyone in life because you always feel this pull from people in your life. Could be at your work, could be your family, could be your friends, could be anyone in your life. And people just try to, I don't know why it is, but they try to turn you into something else. And they think they know what's best for you. Maybe they do, but a lot of times it's something that's totally off. And this has been a big theme in our lives because we're so countercultural with the way that we live and the way we conduct our career and the message we have and the way that we do things, the things that we want to wear and what we want to say. Even, it's so weird, even the idea of just singing a song on YouTube, a cover, and changing an inappropriate part of it because you know you have young fans and you don't want a 10-year-old to be running around singing something because they saw you sing it. Like, that has been, like, so controversial on our YouTube channel. Like, people will leave, like, angry comments, negative comments.
I've seen those.
Because they're mad that we changed the words. And that is one thing for me I never had a problem with, like I was never felt like pressured, like, oh no, I don't want to get a bad comment about that. I'm going to change it. Because I feel so strongly about setting a good example in the best way that I can, like, do my best. And that's something where it's just like, no, I do not even care if that offends you in any way because I feel right about this and I feel good about it. But there's other things where it's a lot harder and you don't necessarily feel so strongly about it and you have to, like, keep saying, no, I'm going to do this because I believe it's right. For instance, like me at 25, like, choosing not to drink, it was a really, really, like, different decision and a hard decision, hard thing to, like, keep going because it's, like, so common and so normal that everyone just kind of is like, what is going on? That it's, like, so foreign. They're just like, how is that possible? And I just have to keep, like, going with it even though I don't feel like a bunch of support for it. And in our career, it's been like that because people have wanted to change us into something that they think would sell, I guess. It's like at a label in the music industry, like, it's a business and they're trying to feed their families. I totally understand. Their number one thing is what is going to sell. So when we go into those meetings, they aren't thinking, what's going to make your life more fulfilling? Or what's going to make you happy? Literally, they're thinking, like, what is going to sell? So when I hear someone in the music industry, like, telling us in the past, like, we think the older girls should wear more revealing clothes. Are they telling me that because they're like, you know what, Christina, this will be empowering for you. That's my goal. I want to empower you. That's not their goal. Their goal is to sell. So I'm not going to do something for them to sell because they think it's going to sell that I don't believe in. That's not my first priority. And some people, it is their first priority to sell and to be successful in whatever way. That's their first priority. And I have let myself slip into that mindset at times and be like, that's my top priority. And every time I did, I was just so miserable. So it got to the point where I just realized that is a miserable way to live life and I cannot do it. And I don't have all these distractions in my life. Like, I can't just go out and do random things to distract myself from my life because it sucks. Like, I don't want to live like that. I want to, like, actually like my life. So I need to figure out what my priorities are, and they are not selling myself above all else. It's actually living a fulfilling life and following God.
And also, just a quick note I was thinking about when she was saying this, just on the issue of morality, like, people might wonder, like, well, why do you change the lyrics? Like, what's so bad about that? Like, people get confused about, like, the term inappropriate. And I think just a quick definition, at least in my opinion, is taking something that is meant to be beautiful and sacred and respected and kind of just cheapening it and making it into, like, this thing that is sort of twisted and like dark and bad. Like you're taking something beautiful and good and making it into something that's not what it was intended to be. And I think that is sort of like what it means to choose to try to live a life of moral, is placing value on sacred things and having respect for those things. Like inside of, because the world just takes everything that God has made sacred and cheapens it. And I think that's the quickest way to live a dark and unfulfilling life, is to kind of go along with that, like to take that message of just like not valuing things, including yourself. And I think that placing value on things, that's like the definition of having values. So that's sort of like what I think we're trying to do.
This is why I think kids are so incredible and so important, because I've let kids dictate a lot of things for me. For instance, like my younger siblings and then our viewers who are younger. I just think we can learn so much, not everything, but so much from kids. Because like when people have kids, suddenly they think about what they're saying. They don't want to say certain things. They don't want to watch certain things. They don't want their kids to see certain things. And kids just have like this innocence to them. And the kids are expressive and fun. And then you get older and you start to like lose that. And I'm looking to kids now for like a lot of inspiration, like for that innocence and that playfulness. And I just think about that when we make our career decisions. I think, how would I feel if my little cousin, who is like 4, was watching this? Like, how would I feel if she saw this? And I think about kids all the time. And I think kids really like change our lives and keep us in check. So that's kind of where I get that from, like the innocence.
And if you look at kids versus adults, it's sort of like, who do you want to be like more? Who seems happier? You know, like,
Yes.
And people like make fun of people for being like childish. They say like, oh, you're so immature. Like you don't, like, for changing the words or whatever it is. But like, do you want to be like adults, or would you rather be like kids? I feel like kids are the ones that are really winning. They're the ones that are truly like happy.
Definitely. That's awesome. That was really cool. That's definitely something that people nowadays need. With just so much, I don't want to say filth, but filth in the world, where it's cool that you can go on YouTube and watch you guys, or just get a little bit of more positivity.
We living in a dark world, how they gonna know if we don't put His glory on display and let it show? So let there be light, let there be light, let there be light, let there be light.
Alright, so that was the Cimorelli interview. I must say, I love the fact that they're all role models. I love the fact that they're Christians and they're not afraid to show their faith. They are just super talented, and I know they are destined for fame and stardom. And, you know, that their story is amazing. You know, like they said in the interview, they're just, you know, they never thought that this would ever happen. You know, they're just staying on their path, taking it one step at a time. And it's really special to see their careers develop and their faith develop. And it's amazing. They're super talented individuals. If you're on, you know, if you have your phone with you, if you're on your smartphone, on your computer, go follow them on Twitter. Their Twitter is @cimorelliband. That's the @CimorelliBand, @CimorelliBand. Their individual Twitter accounts are @ChristinaSim, @KathSim, @LisaSim, @AmySim, @Lauren Cimorelli, and @DannySim. So that was the Cimorelli interview. Super great people. Super fun to work with. Hopefully there's more stuff in the future with them. Their Instagram is also @CimorelliBand, and on Facebook, search Cimorelli Band and you'll find them. So that's all of their information. It's all in the description below. Check all of that stuff out. Go check out their EP. It's a free EP. The link will also be in the description below. And I'm very excited for what we have in store for you next. But first, we're going to go to a commercial break, and then we will be right back at you.
This is our first time at creation, and we are super excited for what God has planned for us.
When I come to creation. It's a great way to regain your faith and just to renew how much you love Jesus and how much He works in your life.
We've been coming here from Michigan for about 20 years, and we've had hundreds of kids' lives affected for Christ here at Creation. We've had kids accept Christ here. We've had many people recommit their lives here. And we always go back different. We always go back challenged. We always go back changed. And we always go back more united as a group, and especially as a group for Christ.
It's just good to have a spiritual recharge. Like, you just leave a new person, and you leave as the person that it keeps you going all year.
All right, so we are back from commercial break. As you saw right there, Creation Fest 2016 is right around the corner. Head over to creationfest.com for those tickets. And Creation Fest Northeast this year is June the 29th through July 2nd. Hopefully we will see you there. Tickets range in all prices. You can get day passes for individual days. You can get week-long passes, so you're there all week. And if you're there all week, you need campsites. So they'll have campsites available to purchase for the week. And it is a great time. So if you're looking into it, head over to creationfest.com for those tickets, and hopefully we will see you there, because it's the highlight of your summer, maybe your life. So moving on, it is with great pleasure to announce the first of many live musical performances here on the Glow in the Dark podcast. Here's Cimorelli playing their hit single, Renegade.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, hey,
yeah, I'm a small town girl, but they try to change me. You hear that? That's my drummer. I got my own beat. They try to package me, but girl, I don't fit in that box. I see the look on your face, but girl, I'm about to wipe it off.
Get real with me. I'm not wasting my energy. I'm not your puppet or string. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoa, they got me feeling like a renegade. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Just trying to stay true to the inner me. Oh, they try to change me, they try to make me, break me, that just ain't me. You're not gonna faze me, this renegade's not changing, no!
Perfect, that was awesome.
Thank you!
Thank you. So to end things out, if you just want to do your little Cimorelli thing, and then say, if you can, this is Cimorelli, and you're listening to the Glow in the Dark podcast.
Okay, well, 3. Hey, we're Cimorelli, and you're listening to the Glow in the Dark podcast.